Hello, everyone. Welcome to Catherine's ESL classroom. In today's lesson is part 2, our knowledge check quiz of past perfect tense. So if you learned about part 1, then I hope you're ready for part 2. Part 2 is also a great way to check your knowledge of past perfect tense. So what did you learn before? And tell me how you did. So let's have some fun. So thank you everyone for joining today's lesson of past perfect tense part 2 quiz. Are you getting ready? I am. Let's see how we all do. Quiz time. All right. So this is our past perfect tense quiz. We have 10 questions in this quiz. So you're going to help me choose the correct answer. So which word completes the sentence? When I got home, the children had already blank to bed. Would it be going, went, or gone? Let's just try them all together if you don't know. When I got home, the children had already going to bed. The children had already went to bed. The children had already gone to bed. What do you think is the answer? Gone. Had already gone. Or we could say had gone to bed. Okay, so we're kind of using the time expression already. But here's a bonus one for you. Which action happened first and which action happened second? Okay, so we know that the first action always has the past perfect tense. And the second action completing the two actions in the past would be what? That's right, the simple past. Okay, so which action happened first? The children had already gone to bed. The second action would be I got home. Got meaning the past simple tense. Had already gone to bed would be our past perfect, right? Good. All right, number 2. When I turned on the television, my favorite program has nearly finished. My favorite program had nearly finished. My favorite program had finished nearly. Trying to trick you here. So which one do you think it is? That's right. When I turned on the television, my favorite program had nearly finished. Okay, so which action happened first? My favorite program nearly finished, okay? That's why we're saying had finished. Now, what word is nearly? What would that be? Right? It's a time expression here because it nearly finished, not completely, but it was almost done. So which was the second action? I turned on the television. Good. And what tense is turned? That's right. It's the simple past tense. How about this one? We blank been out long when it started to rain. We hadn't been out long when it started to rain. We had been out long when it started to rain. We weren't been out long when it started to rain. This is tricky. What do you think it is? We hadn't, meaning had not, been out long when it started to rain. Okay. Bonus. Which action happened first? We hadn't been out long. That was the first action that happened in the past. Which was the second action? It started to rain. That was the second action. Why? The second action always uses the simple past tense. What does the first action in the past start with? That's right. It's the past perfect tense. How about this one? The film started. Then we arrived at the cinema. So which sentence has a similar meaning? All right, this is going to be tough. When we had arrived at the cinema, the film had started. When we had arrived at the cinema, the film started. When we arrived at the cinema, the film had already started. All right. Think about which action happened first and which action happened second. Now, you remember that when we use the first action that happened in the past, we use the past perfect. And the second action to follow in the past, we use the simple past. Trying to help you here. Okay, so which would be the answer? That's right. When we arrived at the cinema, second action, the film had already started. First action. Right. All right. Here's another one. Which sentence has a similar meaning? Someone stole my phone. Then I found my bag and the phone was not there. This is tough. Okay. When I found my bag, I had noticed that someone had stolen my phone. When I found my bag, I had noticed that someone stole my phone. When I found my bag, I noticed that someone had stolen my phone. Whew, this is a lot. Now, which word is the time expression? That's right, when. Okay. So, what do you think makes sense here? That's right. When I found my bag, I noticed that someone had stolen my phone. So what's the first action? Someone stole my phone. What's the second action? I noticed it. What's the third action? Is it I found my bag? Trying to trick you here. So when I found my bag, that would be what? At the end, I noticed that someone had stolen my phone. Okay. So basically, there were two actions here. I noticed that someone had stolen my phone because when I found my bag, you didn't know until you found your bag, right? So the first action that happened in the past would be someone stole my phone, but I didn't notice it until I found my bag, right? Okay, so think about, you can take the sentences and each one that happened as the action, you can put down where it happened in the past. Remember the timeline. All right. All right, here's another one. We're going to complete the sentences here using the verbs in bold. Okay, this would be be. In each case, we're going to choose the past simple or the past perfect tense. So now you know you have to think about which action in the past happened first. So you have to know if this is be would change into a regular verb in the simple past or an irregular verb in the past participle, or could even be in the simple past. It does happen. All right, what could it be? We finally arrived at the hotel. It blank a long journey and we were very tired. Okay, you know this is not multiple choice, so you have to know these by heart. So think about which action happened first and which actions happened second. Write them all down. Pause and then give me the answer. Had been. Okay, so if we're using the past perfect tense, had been, be becomes been as the past participle. We know this is the first action. It had been a long journey and we were very tired. We finally arrived at the hotel, right? The long journey, we became tired, and then we arrived at the hotel. So think about the timeline. Okay, number 7, we're going to choose whether or not this is a past simple or past perfect tense using the verb decide. The council blank to put speed cameras along the road because there had been 7 fatal accidents in the past year. Whew, this is a mouthful. All right, again, put this on pause, but first, make your timeline and figure out which actions happened first, second, or even third in the past, and then put them. Okay, what's the answer? The council decided to put speed cameras along the road because there had been 7 fatal accidents in the past year. So which action happened first? That's right. There had been 7 fatal accidents in the past year. That's the first action in the past. Then decided as the simple past tense. Decided, okay? Then they put the speed cameras along the road because, right, of the fatal accidents. You getting the hang of it? All right, I'm glad you're doing well in the test. How about this one? Emergency workers pulled 3 people from the wreckage. They blank under the wreckage for 4 days. Now the vocabulary words are becoming harder. So if you don't know some of the vocabulary words, look them up in the dictionary and then come back to the test. Okay, wreckage, right? There was an accident and there was a lot going on. Maybe the cars are all wrecked, they're all destroyed. Maybe they hit a tree, they hit each other. That is the word wreckage. Okay. So what would we put here as the past simple or the past perfect tense using the word survive? Now again, put the order of events first, your timeline. Which action of the past happened first, then the second, or maybe even the third. You figure that one out. Answer time. Had survived. Okay, so if we're using they had survived under the wreckage for 4 days, that means the action happened first because we're using the past perfect tense. So what would be the second one, right? The emergency workers pulled, simple past, 3 people from the wreckage. Great job if you got it. If not, go back to part 1. But I'm helping you out with this quiz just to give you the answers as to why. All right, what about this one? Kathy was sad when she moved house. Well, she moved from her house. Kathy was sad when she moved from her house because she blanked there for over 15 years. Okay, so there was a grammatical error here. There should have been a preposition from when she moved from her house. Preposition from and her, the possessive pronoun. Okay, so put that down. Kathy was sad when she moved from her house because she blanked there for over 15 years. So again, which tense verb should we use for live? You have to think about which action happened first in the past and then the second one. Time's up. Had lived, because that happened first. Past perfect tense, we use first. First action that happened in the past. She had lived there for over 15 years. Then she moves from her house and she was sad, right? Okay, so we only can use one past perfect tense and we're using one sentence. Then the following tenses should be simple past. Okay, last one. Tom blank great because he had stayed up late the night before. So which happened first and which verb tense should we use? Past simple or past perfect for the word feel? What do you think? Put them in order. That's right. Tom didn't feel great because he had stayed up late the night before. So again, which is the first action that happened in the past? He had stayed up late the night before, which is the time, the time word, right? We're using the time phrase before, okay? So that kind of gives you the clue word, right? So didn't feel great, okay? We wouldn't say Tom hadn't felt great. because we're already saying he had stayed up late. So we know that happened first in the past. Okay. How did you do, everyone? This was a little tough, a little advanced, but I hope you did well and you're starting to master the past perfect tenses. Okay. So now we have some past perfect tense worksheet, which I'd like you to complete if you need more practice. Now you'll notice here, there are a lot of words here. I'm going to just help you out with the first one. Okay. And number one, let's just look at the verbs here. Okay. So this is the time expression by the time. Okay. So you have to think about which happened first. The first thing that happened was the firemen arrived, right? By the time the firemen arrived. So we know that was not the first action because we're using the present tense, the simple present tense, arrived, okay? By the time the firemen arrived, right, we would say the fire had already reached. How would we spell reached? Is that a regular verb or an irregular verb? That's right. It's a regular verb because we're spelling it with an ED at the end. Okay. So again, the firemen had already reached the roof by the time the firemen arrived. Which action happened first? Not the firemen arrived because that's the simple past tense, arrived. Had already reached the roof. That happened first in the past tense. Okay. So now practice the other ones and put down all the answers in the comments because we would love to know how well you are doing the past perfect tense. Take a picture. So everyone, how did you do? Did you do well? How did you do with past perfect tense? This was a little tough, right? So ask all your questions, write down all your answers on the practice sheet, and we would love to hear from you. So thank you everyone again, and wish you a wonderful day. Bye.